Hello, it's all changed this week on Access. As you can see, we've got a lovely brand new set, and I'm here on a Friday talking to you about video game bosses. You've caught me realising that's just one change, actually, isn't it?
The set. We've got a new set. Do you like it? I'm not so sure. It's like a pair of new boots, isn't it? Yes, it looks nice, but it feels a bit strange still. It needs breaking in a bit, doesn't it? And what better way to do that, I thought, than by revisiting a classic Friday feature and giving it a nice 2020 update.
So, new set with your fancy lights and your trendy faux brick backdrop. This is how we roll on Access. Here are 7 video game bosses we didn't want to kill, Part 2.
First of all, let me just nudge your attention back to 7 bosses we didn't want to kill Part 1 for a second, a video that included bosses like Albert Wesker, Sif from Dark Souls, the Colossi from Shadow of the Colossus, and of course, the boss from Metal Gear Solid 3. So, if you get to the end of this video and are all like, well, where's that really obvious entry? Save your fingers the trouble of typing out a bemused comment, because it's probably back there. Right, let's get into it, and we'll open with some spoilers for Final Fantasy X. But really, you've had 18 years to finish this, come on. Jecht is, let's be honest, not a very nice man. He's an arrogant loudmouth, a terrible father to main character Tidus, and, to compound matters, fuses with a malevolent orb-like entity and becomes a demon whale hell-bent on the destruction of the Earth.
And that's why we didn't want to kill him.
No, we did. We really did. Until seeing him emerge, almost pitifully, at the end of the game, ready to face my over-leveled, break-damage limit celestial weapon attacks. Yeah, this music doesn't really convey that sense of pity too well, does it? Should we change this up a bit? Perfect, because behind the monstrous abs and the soulless eyes is just a sad, flawed individual who made some bad life choices. And look what you've done to Tidus. All you've done, all game, Jecht, either directly by blitzing entire armies of chocobos or through heart-wrenching flashback, is traumatize my boy. The least you could do is hang around long enough after I've carved your hit points out to apologise.
Nope. Dead.
This is more an example of a boss we really did want to beat the living snot out of and then felt a bit deflated afterwards. Poor Tidus. Poor Jecht. I wish life would have been kinder to both of you.
It's alright, the spoilers are over, you can come out now. Cool, imagine having to fight your dad and then finding out you're not real though.
Next up, Undertale, and I'm truly ashamed of myself for this one. I didn't want to do this at all. I mean, Toriel, I didn't really even want to move from your cosy house. I could have quite happily lived here and let you look after me and not tried to break out and explore just like you told me not to.
But Undertale, you're forcing my lazy acceptance of not at all challenging video game safety up against my complete inability to sit still for more than 5 minutes.
And so I had to disobey you, Toriel. I had to walk out of that house, I had to get in a fight with you, and then to proceed in the video game, I had to kill you, which completely broke my heart. I mean, you were so nice to me, even when I did kill you. I can't believe I did this, I really can't. Absolutely heartbreaking.
You don't have to kill Toriel.
Entry 3, spoilers for Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, the Sculptor from Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Or should I say the Demon of Hatred, which is what he turns into, isn't it, after being consumed by the inner wrath burning deep inside.
I don't know. I haven't even fought the Sculptor. Nathan told me to put this one in.
So, apparently, You feel pretty bad when killing the sculptor because he's one of the few characters in Sekiro who doesn't immediately try and cut your face off as soon as you meet them. In fact, he looks after you get beaten up by Genichiro Ashina, gifts you the now iconic prosthetic arm, and as you journey deeper into the game and unearth the lore, reveals himself to be a former shinobi, now reduced to carving Buddha statues while trying to suppress the boiling rage within.
It's a tragic story, really. The sculptor knows that it's all going to go wrong for him.
Like with most From Software titles, this is all stuff you kind of have to figure out for yourself, but really, if you just pay attention to the Buddhas he carves and their furious faces, and when he tells you that the Buddha showed him fire, that's all I saw. And when you see all those wards and talismans inside his hut, and that parts of the hut have been damaged from the inside, and so you realise the wards and talismans were maybe protecting the sculptor from something inside himself.
The sculptor's the demon of hatred. Oh my god, I love environmental storytelling.
Yeah, and reading character entries on the Sekiro wiki. Anyway, after learning all of that, you really do feel a bit bad when you strike the final blow on the demon of hatred. So long, sculptor. Thanks for the prosthetic arm that's just helped me kill you. Entry 4, spoilers for GTA San Andreas. Big Smoke. This guy is the worst. He's a greedy, backstabbing, power-hungry traitor, selling out his family to a bunch of crooked cops in exchange for a life of luxury. It still hurts, Big Smoke, all these years later. And so does running around your mansion emptying my entire weapon inventory into your cowardly face.
I both did and didn't want to kill Big Smoke. I mean, yes, of course, I wanted revenge.
I was hot with emotion. Big Smoke isn't a faceless villain, he's like your brother. And also, I didn't want to kill him, mainly because, deep down, I know he's a man after my own heart. Hello, eat the good food. Can I take your order, please?
Oh, hello, yes. Could I please have 2 number 9s, a large number 9, then could I have a number 6, please, with extra dip, a number 7, 2 number 45s, can one of those be with cheese, please? Yeah. Yes, and then a large Dr. Pepper, please. Yeah. Anyone else want anything?
Entry 5 is Emil from Nier Automata. Lovely Emil, with his lovely voice and iconic face and innocent demeanour. You don't even have to fight Emil. He's totally optional, and he's level 99 and really tough. So why would you?
For trophies, that's why.
Everyone who's done this, everyone who's deliberately stolen from Emil and listened to his shock and sadness about how you are the thief, and then engaged in the prolonged, challenging boss battle for which you'll need to be a really high level, and continued the fight, and beaten him, and listened to him lament the fact everything's just about power now, and heard him say, "Okay, you can use this room for whatever you want," in a voice like a sad 4-year-old who's reluctantly agreed to put all their toys away and go to bed. Everyone who's been through all of that just for a trophy,
shame on you. Shame on you. You know who you are.
Was it worth it? The gold trophy, yeah? Did it make you feel good about yourselves? I hope so. I really do. Because what you've done is awful. I will never kill Emil. And not because I can't, because I'm not good enough at the game. No, but because I'm nice.
I am. Really nice. Just ask the NPCs of GTA San Andreas.
Number 6, and beware, because here be spoilers for The Last Guardian. You've been warned. Are you ready? Right. So, the other Tricos, the ones with the armour and the masks, under the control of the Master of the Valley, fighting these things is horrible because You know what's underneath the mask. You've bonded with Trico over the course of the game, formed a connection typical of Japan Studios' emotionally charged titles, and so you know this thing you're fighting isn't really evil. It doesn't have any choice or control.
But if you don't act, you know that your Trico is probably going to die.
And so you do what must be done. You trap its tail in a gate, you throw a heavy load on its head, and then at the very end, and seriously, if you're still here and don't want spoilers, then skip this bit like right now, a whole load of innocent, helpless Tricos fall to their doom in an absolutely heart-wrenching scene.
I haven't felt like this since that bit in Final Fantasy IX where all the black mages fall off the cargo ship and Vivi's eyes go all sad.
It had to be done though. I couldn't take seeing my beloved Trico there on the floor, literally being ripped to pieces by a bunch of other Tricos who didn't know what they were doing. Why do I do this to myself? Everyone knows these games never have happy ever after endings. Final entry. Part 1 ended with a Metal Gear entry, and so will Part 2. Although our reasons for not wanting to kill the boss are vastly different than our reasons for not wanting to kill Liquid Ocelot at the end of Metal Gear Solid 4. I mean, he deserves everything he gets here. Every punch, every kick, every bruise. For 10 years, this villain has manipulated, murdered, and maniacally laughed his way, somehow, into the hearts of every Metal Gear fan in the world.
Maybe it's the tragedy of the brotherly love that never was, or maybe it's because landing that final punch in Ocelot's face marks the end of a story over a decade in the telling.
Either way, I took no joy in ending this fight. I couldn't believe it was finally over. In fact, I didn't. I half expected to hear Ocelot's voice piping up after the end credits on the phone to the Patriots, telling us how he'd quadruple crossed the lot of us and had somehow hypnotized himself into believing he was actually dead to fool everyone, when really, he'd uploaded his consciousness to the Patriots AI and would now live forever as the soul of the internet, in charge of everything and everyone for all eternity.
Yeah, that didn't happen. He was dead. It was over, and I was sad.
I didn't want to kill you, Liquid Ocelot. I didn't want it to end. I loved hating you, so much so I eventually just loved you. And so there you are, 7 bosses we didn't want to kill, Part 2. Let us know in the comments who your pick would be. Give us a like if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to click that notification bell so you're always up to date with everything from the world of PlayStation. Thanks for watching, and see you again next week for another Friday feature.
For the players.